Okay, for a while now I have been using this as my main watercolor palette, and I use it at my desk, but I always go other places with it as well. And the problem I have is that since I pack it to go along, I often end up with it like this, all a jumble. And that's even though I have put magnets on the bottom. Some of them have stronger magnets than others. Let's see, find one that has, I know some of these I put like the strong earth magnets on it, and I know that that would help. But I decided to, plus I wasn't kind of fitting them all in here. So I decided to go with one of these larger palettes. Now my objection to these, as you can see, it's quite a bit larger. My one objection to these, okay, the pro of these is that they have the little things to hold the things in place. So that's a plus. My objection was how much space they take on the table. Like by the time I have this whole thing out, I hardly have room for my sketchbook or anything else, or if I'm trying to hold this on my lap or whatever. But I decided to I could go ahead and, if I take the mixing tray off, it's just as a matter of, oh, can I get it? Pulling out this, there's a little metal rod here that runs through this, and if I pull it out, then I can take this off, and I can still use this separately or whatever, but this is a more manageable size for me. I can always keep these to add back on if I ever so choose to. But in the meantime, I have a more manageable size palette here. I can also always take this out for more if I need more palette space. But I've been using this with just this much palette space, so I think this is plenty for me. So I have this palette that is actually Kids Watercolors came in, but I have filled it with full pans of gouache plus a few little extra watercolors I had. And actually some of these are a mix of gouache and watercolor, or different colors of gouache. So I am a very mix and match person. I don't, as long as it's water soluble, I'm fine with them all going together. But so I'm going to evaluate some of these, whether they should go in my new tin. I have these that will not fit in my new tin. This is a special one, these little flat palettes with these little tiny, very thin pans. And I have put, so far, I just have Neocolor II crayons in them that I can use as a watercolor, but I think I'm going to decide which of these colors I would also like to fill a half pan with, to put in my new palette. And then also I have this one, which was my, as you can see, I just keep getting a little bigger and bigger. This was my just around the house every day most used watercolor, and then I went to this because I wanted a little bit more color than what I could fit in here. And now I'm going to this one, which holds I believe it holds 48, but I'm pretty sure I can fit another row in here too, which I'm not for sure how many that is because I think they go sideways, but more than 48. So I will have a nice big batch. So what I want to do though is set this up, put some of those strong magnets on the bottom of the ones that go in here, and set this up as my as a travel one and see how that works, because I love it. I love the skinny shape of it, and that it can just fit real easily like this in a bag. And then when you're working, like it takes a small amount of table space. You can have it right beside, you know, a sketchbook or whatever without much space. So I'm kind of thinking about doing that too. So I might think about that as I'm setting up my other palette. Also, I have these watercolors, this core set, and they were, I believe, the landscape set maybe called, which I have just been using off of this little ceramic palette for now, but they would also be in the running to be included in my big palette. So I also have those. So the first thing I'm going to do is to just kind of swatch the colors and make decisions of what I think. Well, maybe first, because these are ones I already know I want to have, so I might kind of arrange those first in here and then see what I can add on and do some swatching. I also have already swatched all of these colors. Like these are those new ones that I said I just got. I can use those to compare with the ones that I already have in here, and so I can work on just evaluating what the best assortment for me for how I work and the colors I use will be. I do think that having a few full pans of some favorites will be nice, because I can really get in there and get a good really load a brush with some color for doing like bigger areas. So I'm also going to be making some decisions about that. Now, some of the paints I have, I only have half pans of, like I purchased as a half pan, and then others I have in a tube, so I can actually refill or fill a bigger pan. So that will make a difference also. Some of these are handmade. I have a whole variety of colors. I have Daniel Smith, and I have Schminky, and I have Julia K. handmade watercolors. Just a big variety of things that I've accumulated over time. So just invite you to watch along as I sort and swatch and have fun doing that. So I'm pulling pans from my gouache palette and mixing in with my colors I know I want. I'm kind of checking for duplicates, make sure I have some variety here. I'm pulling some of those gouache pans, but as I will be adjusting these a bit with some of the Neocolor II, as you'll see in just a little bit. And I really love these kind of pink fleshy colors, and so I'm wanting a good range of those. So that's something I know I want, so I spend a fair amount of time going through all these pinky peachy colors. To use my Neocolor II, I'm just kind of using an X-Acto knife to shave off some scrapings to add in those. And like I said, some of these are, like this one is just entirely filled with the Neocolor II, and then in other little pans I'm using the Neocolor II to mix in to kind of adjust the color. Here I'm adding some into a little gouache pan so that I can kind of shift that color slightly more pinky. And I even add in some buff titanium watercolor in with this as well. So this particular pan, which is a full pan, has a mix of 2 different colors of Neocolor, a gouache, and a watercolor all mixed together. But since they're all water soluble, it all works. I know I want to use this full pan that I have a mix of fluorescent pink gouache and opera pink watercolor by Daniel Smith, but I'm looking for something, a pink that's kind of in between there. And going through what I have available, I decided the Neocolor II was the best thing to fill that gap, and so filling another little pan there with some pink Neocolor II. Now I'm moving into the more purple colors and starting with this beautiful quinacridone magenta by Golden, a core watercolor. At this point, I had just a couple spots left, and so I decided that maybe I was missing or would enjoy having some grays. So I had a few shades of gray, Neocolor, kind of cool grays that I think would best belong up by the blues. I ended up mixing the medium and darker gray together, and now I'm just kind of rearranging my palette to get everything kind of in the order that I want it. And it's kind of reminds me of those little 15 puzzle games, because I'm trying to not just take everything out, but to just get them arranged. And so I am a little bit limited by those full pans because they don't fit just anywhere, so it kind of gives me a little bit of a challenge getting things in what I think is the perfect arrangement. But I think I'm pretty happy with how it works at this point. On a new sketchbook spread, I'm just went through and kind of double checked all these colors. I have a couple places where I want to switch some colors around just to be in order that makes a little bit more sense to me, so some little minor adjustments. But I'm pretty happy with this selection. I am strong on the colors that I use a lot and need a lot of, and so I think this will do me for a while. Now I'm going to make myself a little palette that I can keep in there and refer to see how the colors, actually look on paper. I'm using that tray that I removed from the palette as a template so that this will be the right size to fit in the lid. And then I will draw on little patches for the little trays, and I'm kind of like trying to measure it, but then I decide to just go with using empty palettes to draw the shape. I'm using a waterproof micron pen to draw in those little half pan shapes. I'm not worried about getting them perfect, but I am getting them like where there's a full pan and where there's a half pan, so that it is easily to refer back and forth to the actual pans. Now that I have my palette somewhat accurately drawn out, I'm just going through and swatching each of the colors on here. This is watercolor paper, so it'll give me an idea how the colors are going to look, played out in real life in a painting. I'm also swatching these in their proper order in my little swatch book, and this will give me, I am going to have room to write exactly what is in each one, and if it's a mix, then what's included in the mix. And so when I need more information, this is something I can go back to find out more, or if I need to refill, to find out what I need to refill with. So I think this will be very useful too. It also shows me what these paints look like on the Tomoe River paper versus the watercolor paper. Okay, so here's my full palette, and with my little descriptions and names and brands and everything written in. So I have kind of a full notation of that. I'm pretty happy with these colors. The granulating ones really show up nicely on the Tomoe River paper. And I think I'm going to have fun using this new palette. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.